backwoods Florida, the perfect place for night drives, family barbecues, fishing, and of course, hiding bodies. Let's get into these true scares.
It was late one night in 2005, and me and my girl were driving through Central Florida's back roads, just enjoying the night and our time together. But as we were driving down those dark two-lane roads and swishing past moss-filled trees, my girl got a text from an unidentifiable number asking where she was. This was quite unusual, but we figured it was a case of mistaken number, so she texted back saying just that. Not even 20 seconds later, that number tried to call her phone, and my girl immediately denied it. Now we're a little uneasy because she had already told the person they had the wrong number. She got a voicemail afterwards, and what we heard next shook us.
Hey, I see you driving around out here with that bitch-ass geek. Either stop the car and surrender, or suffer the consequences. Your choice.
Immediately we both knew it was her ex. How and why he knew we were driving around out here is still unknown. But I had to show my beloved I was not afraid of her ex, even though I was secretly petrified. Always have been. Don't worry about it, baby. He isn't gonna do anything. I'ma crash out about you know that. She was a bit scared, but I guess I did a good enough job of convincing her she was alright. So we just turned up the music some more and kept on driving. However, what happened next still hurts me to talk about to this day, but I felt telling true scares about this ordeal would help me open your eyes about the dangers of backroad Florida. A big, rusty truck with windows tinted black as tar turned onto our street right behind us. He must have been lying in wait underneath a shadowy tree or something, because he came out of nowhere. Immediately, the truck, equipped with the horn of an 18-wheeler, began riding our tail. I think me and my girl both intuitively know it was her ex, but I remained calm as she began to panic. I didn't even put both hands on the wheel. I just slowly cruised along, maintaining the aura I had so carefully built for myself. Wasn't long before her ex rammed us in the back, making my girl scream in terror. Again, I just kept one hand on the wheel before briefly looking at her and telling her to relax. He's just tripping. Everything immediately changed once he stuck his arm out of his window and began firing at us with his pistol. That's when I immediately lost all of my aura. I then pressed the red passenger seat ejection button by the driver's side door and watched as she flew out of my car through the sunroof, screaming. I knew her ex just wanted her. He didn't want anything to do with me. So I gave him what he wanted and watched in the rear view as he pulled over, grabbed her, put her in his truck, and sped off in the opposite direction. I thanked God I was still alive and continued driving, enjoying the rest of what Florida's back roads had to offer. If there's anything I want you to take away from this video, it'd be to remember the art of self-preservation. Your life might depend on it.
Wow, that was the scariest thing I've ever heard in my life, living and dead. Let's get into the next true scary story.
Me and my buddy were about 14, 15 when this happened, about 1 mile out from my parents' house. We live near Florida's back roads, and I've seen and heard a lot of scary shiznit, but none compared to the old hunched-over creep who lived in the shack right off of Creeper Street, just under that huge mossy-ass tree. He rode our bikes over toward his house late one night while my parents were upstairs making some very strange noises. They never even noticed we left. When we got to the old geezer's house, I didn't see his signature pickup truck, so me and my buddy decided to get a closer look at his property. We snuck inside his house and looked around. Aside from the apparent roach infestation and the strong odor of blood, it seemed very safe and sanitary. We continued through the house and got to a kitchen where a pot was sitting on top of the stove with the eye turned on. Me and my pal looked inside out of curiosity and saw boiling eyeballs. That's when we panicked and tried to run out. But the old geezer was already behind us. He opened his mouth and let out a long breath, and that nasty-ass odor from his disgusting jaw knocked us both out. Had to have been about 10 minutes before me and my friend awoke in a dark, dungeon-type area. There were blood smears everywhere and body parts I didn't want to believe were real. The old hunched-over man was nowhere to be found, but he left us a note saying we had to fight, and the winner would be the one who made it out alive. My best friend, my buddy, my brother. He said he'd never fight me. We had a genuine bond, and that we'd both have to die before we laid a finger on each other. I, on the other hand, did not feel the same way. So I did the cliche, "Hey, what's that over there?" And once he turned around, I put him in a chokehold, subduing him into unconsciousness. The old man opened the door not long after and let me walk back up to the above-ground area, where I then ran back to my bicycle and rode back home. I slept well that night, knowing I had barely made it out of a very dangerous situation. My friend's family still has no idea what happened to him, and I intend to keep it that way. Truthfully speaking, I don't actually know what happened to him either, but every time I hear boiling water, I pray to God my friend's eyeballs weren't turned into some kind of sick dinner.
Geez, remind me to never travel Florida's back roads. It sounds about half as terrifying as the True Scares Motel. Now, let's judge these two stories. Remember, this is a face-off after all. The better story will either kill or save this man who was being accused of public intoxication in Jacksonville Beach.
Do what you gotta do, motherfucker.
Oh, we will. Let's get started. Well then, looks like we have a winner. Let's find out his fate. Another survivor in the True Scares Motel. I don't particularly like sparing these people. I need more souls to feast on. But rules are rules. Expect more scares soon. Until then, sleep well.